Hi guys, so welcome back to my channel, Riri Jay. So in this video, I will be telling you a story time about how I got the final ick from my ex-boyfriend and walked out, leaving his behind at a restaurant. If you want to know more about this story time, stay tuned.
I touch that 5 for you. I do that 3 more times again. I testify for you. I told her like you, that bitch, I do it all.
So today is Sunday, October 15th. I am getting ready to go to brunch this beautiful Sunday, and I don't want to go with no eyelashes, and I don't want to go with my hair just kind of like looking like this. So we're gonna just do a quick get ready with me, but also a story time. I was looking at a video that Finalick made. I'll put it right here somewhere. I'll probably insert it here.
Mercy, I did not know it was narcissists sitting on every corner around here. Narcissists are everywhere. And I have learned so much about the narcissistic man. At first, when people would say the word narcissist, I literally thought that they were saying like a person that's like more like cocky. That's how I thought of it. They probably talking about a cocky person. No. This is a mental health issue. This is bad. They're like a devil. They're grouchy. They obviously show up as one person, and then later on you learn they're super grouchy. They don't want to do anything.
The video that Finalick made, she talked about her boyfriend and the issues she was dealing with. It just reminded me of my last relationship that I was in and the things that I went through. This story time is not to bash anyone. It is not to belittle anyone or nothing like that. This story time is simply to shed light on relationships that are like this. I'm sure, this can happen either way. It can happen to a man or a woman. It doesn't matter. Being in an emotionally abusive relationship can be very confusing and have you in something way longer than what you should be in. I have my whole layout right here at my desk so that I can get ready. I have my Stanley cup with my water. I stay hydrated. They actually have this on sale on TikTok for like $30 right now. I've also prepped my face with this Olay Super Serum. This was $30 and it's halfway gone, but I absolutely love it. Like, it's been changing the texture of my face, along with baking soda mixed in with my facial cleanser at least once a week. Those two combined, I've been looking a lot glowy, a lot more, you know, smooth. It's just been a really good experience. I have my paddle brush to do my hair. I'm also gonna be putting on these lashes. These are the double up lashes by Ardell. I actually cut these into pieces and put them on. I'll show you in a few minutes. And I'm gonna be using this bond. I just brought this from CVS. It's by Falscara. Can y'all see that? Falscara is the Seal and Bond. And I have my lip gloss, Lifter Gloss. I love this gloss by Maybelline. Infallible by Maybelline. This is concealer. I love this concealer. This is all I use on my face actually. And then I have my beauty blender that's in this little beauty blender container. I have my palette, Give Them Lala. I have these little scissors here, and I have these tweezers. And then lastly, I just brought the contour brush for your eyeshadow, and I got this from Elf. It was like $3. All right, so let's just get right into this story about how I found myself in an emotionally abusive relationship and did not even know. I'm gonna put my lash on my hands, and then I'm going to just cut a piece of it. And then I'm just gonna get it like this. There's normally like glue on these lashes, so I'm gonna take the glue off with my nails. So I met this person at the beginning of 2022, and it's so crazy because in November of 2021, I was promising myself to give myself like a full year to just literally like relax, like be celibate, not date anyone. I cut everybody off in 2021, and I was just ready to have just a really good year of learning myself and loving on me. I was ready for it. I just so happened to meet this guy on, he was like, me and him was messaging each other on like Instagram, and we ended up just talking a lot more. And then by the time 2022 came, I finally talked to him. That was in January. So I started talking to him in January of 2022. We started talking a lot, like on FaceTime. We were talking on the phone a lot. We got to know each other a lot. But here's the thing. I'm gonna tell you something that I didn't know then that I know now. If somebody sees that you're a very bright, bubbly type person, or you're just different than they are and they want to impress you, sometimes people will try to mirror you. Everything that you do, they are going to do. If you like something, they like it. If you talk like a certain way or talk about a lot of different things, they're going to do the same thing. Like, they're just going to mirror you because they know if they come to the table with their true personality, that they're really mean or that they really don't want to do nothing, they just have bad intentions, then they know that they won't have a chance with you at all. And I feel like that's what happened, because the first, I would say 3 months of us dating was great. Like, he agreed with me on everything. Like, I could ask him as many questions as I wanted. I can talk, and he would just be like, sure, and just talk back with me. I'm thinking, wow, I'm actually dating me. Like, I'm dating somebody who is like me. Whoa, I never had this before. So I'm all excited, and that's what threw me off. That's what got me off my A game, okay? I was not paying attention to the signs, and I fell in love really fast because of that. I let my guard down because I just felt so comfortable with this person who was mirroring me, essentially, and I fell in love with this person very fast. That year in Charlotte, it snowed pretty bad. We had been talking so much. I just really felt like I felt so connected to him because he was like me. And so it snowed, and, you know, I allowed him to stay with me pretty much that entire week that it snowed. Lord, like, I just knew that this was my husband. Granted, he's not somebody who I would talk to off looks alone, but, you know, he was attractive to me. Fast forward to like 3 months later, you know, sometimes people do go through things in life that changes how they are, but I feel like if we're in a relationship and you're telling me that you love me every day, you should be able to at least come to me and tell me when you're not feeling well, when things are not going right for you in your life. You should be able just to come to me and tell me that. Like, it's okay, we can talk through it. But it didn't happen. He had to love bomb me the entire 3 months of us dating. And then after that, it's almost like he started to pull away. Now, I'm going to tell you something. I am a big girl, okay? I'm a grown woman. And if you feel like you are no longer interested in me or don't want to be in a relationship, you can express that. Like, it's okay. Like, the phone calls started to get very minimal. And then it started to get to the point where I would come around and I wouldn't know which person I was going to get. I didn't know whether I was going to get the hot or the cold version of him. And what I mean by that is some days I'll come around him and he was very nice to me. There were more days that I would come around him and he would just be like, he wouldn't say much. There was no affection. There was no communication. And this is just within 3 months of this change. He just went from night and day. I would rather somebody tell me than to still show up and be there and be around me and have me around, but then start treating me funny. And that's what started to happen. Like, he didn't want to go anywhere. It was just night and day. So here I am all in love, thinking that it's me. So I started to like question myself. That's when things started to get rocky. We began to argue and bicker back and forth. So whenever I would come around and he was giving me that silent treatment or whatever, I would ask him, hey, are you okay? Like, what's wrong? And he would get so offended and so upset with me for being concerned. And we would argue about that. So, you know, after me trying to like talk to him and see what was wrong and if there's anything that I can do to like make it better for him or help him out, kind of found out he was having financial problems, which I didn't know about. He really didn't talk much about it, which is understandable. When people are going through financial things, especially in a new relationship, you don't want to talk about it, but it should not affect how you treat someone in a relationship. And if it does, communicate that. Talk to your spouse, okay? If you're having problems, don't just come around that person and act like somebody stole your dog, like someone pissed in your cereal, and this person is in the dark on how you're really feeling. that can cause a lot of friction and tension. And I know the girlies on TikTok is saying, hey, if a guy withdraws, then you give him that same energy and you just withdraw too. And honey, I wasn't on that type of time. And I was on, no, I love this person. I'm going to stick by him. I'm going to try to figure it out. And Lord, it made it worse, because whenever I am feeling like I'm kind of like outcasted or being rejected, it makes me, first of all, talk a lot more. So now I'm asking more questions. Now I'm trying to figure it out. I'm becoming Inspector Gadget. I'm thinking it's somebody else, because we're in a relationship, but he's still being weird. Like, it's not the same energy it was giving the first 3 months. It's totally different. And I think that is emotional abuse. So y'all might judge me on this, but after going through that for like a couple of weeks, I started to think, okay, maybe it's somebody else, and he's just trying to play me, I'm gonna figure this out, right? And so I started looking through his Instagram, and I just saw where he would like every woman's picture, like, those kind of guys that'll like all of your pictures, everything you post. That's the kind of guy he was online, and he still is, girl. Y'all should see his Twitter, honey. This man sit here and he just likes a bunch of strange women who are showing their bodies, who are half naked or naked, and he don't even know them. That's just the kind of person he is. And I did not know he was like that at first. Okay, so I'm finding this out. So yes, I started to ask some questions about his social media, but it wasn't in an argumentative way. It was more so like a concern. Like, okay, well, do you want somebody else? Like, what's going on? Like, I'm trying to talk to you and you're giving me very little to go with. So I started to do that. I know I shouldn't have done that, but I did. I was just trying to figure it out, instead of leaving, instead of saying, you know what, you figure out what you got going on, but I deserve better. I deserve to be treated a certain way, and you're not giving that to me. What you showed me in the beginning is not what you're showing me now, and I'm out. I should have done that. Lesson learned, girl. Okay. But anyway, I would come to him with these questions, and he would get so offended. I'm talking about like angry, and it will drag on for a week. We'll have one conversation 1 week, and he'll drag it out for a whole week, just being upset with me about asking him about something. Which, I mean, I get it. Like, who wants to be questioned? But why are you treating me this way? So after that, we had our conversation about it. He said he don't like me asking him questions about his social media because I should trust him. And I get that. But I'm going to tell you something. When you have someone that you are in love with start to treat you differently, meaning pulling back affection, giving you silent treatment. This is stuff he was doing, giving me silent treatment, not calling for the whole day, being very short with me. When I come around, he was very cold. And I'm thinking, okay, why are you I'm talking about calling me and saying, hey, come over. And when I would come over, he's like a whole different person. Girl, I was so confused. And I know this may sound dumb, or it may be embarrassing for people to admit this kind of stuff, but I don't feel embarrassed about it, because we are all human. We all have emotions. We all have feelings. And when I actually love somebody, and I haven't been in love too many times. So for me to love somebody, I believe in giving it the benefit of the doubt and really just finding that empathy and finding that understanding, or trying to find that understanding in that moment. So this is when the breakup started to happen. So one day I was at his house, and literally, like, he was just so cold. Like, we were sitting next to each other on the couch, and he did not look at me, not once. I would ask him questions. He would mumble. Like, he was just being really funny. So I was quiet. And then at the end of the night, I was like, you haven't touched me or talked to me all night. Like, what in the world is going on? This guy turns around and tells me, well, you can go home. You can leave if you want to. Excuse me? I can leave? You invited me here. All right, so this false scare stuff so far is a 10 out of 10, honey. This stuff is good. So anyway, I left. And girl, listen, my heart was shattered. Okay, I ain't gonna lie. I was heartbroken. And I'm not gonna get too much in detail, but this type of style of breaking up after me trying to come to him to understand him, it happened several times throughout the year of 2022. And I would say almost each time we would break up, we would be broken up for about a month, he would call back and be like, hey, I was wrong. He would come to me and say, hey, I was in the wrong. I should have responded to you differently than that. I apologize. I really do love you. I don't want to ever leave you. This man has even cried with us getting back together. I know you can say, well, it's because he was out there playing the field or whatever, and he decided to come back to you. He's played you as a fool, whatever you want to call it. I'm okay with that. But this was truly a learning experience for me. So I would always take him back, just trying to, again, understand like what was going on with him, right? So this happened several times throughout 2022. And it was just a lot. So let's just fast forward to towards the end of the year. So after so many breakups, a misunderstanding, and just misunderstanding each other, missing the mark, poor communication on his end. And I'm gonna say this, I am a very good communicator. I will talk to you, I will break it down, but he wasn't. That was the problem. The first month we would get back together, he was like on board. He was very communicative, very open, just seemed to be very upbeat. And then after about a month, he would fall back into how he really was. It was a cycle. He would fall back into his slumber where he would just be very distant, very cold, very just moody. And here I am again, like, what's wrong now? Like, what's wrong now? So it was crazy. The end of the year came, we got back together after breaking up about 5 million times before that. And I'm thinking, okay, each time we get back together, maybe he's learning. Girl, no, he's not. You cannot change someone's personality. Only they can. A person has to want to change for themselves. Okay, no matter how good you are to them, no matter how much you try to pour into them or love them, if a person is a certain way, you cannot change them. So after going through like the constant breakups and makeups, I was kind of over it. I was at my wit's end with how his personality was. I was just over it. But I continued to give him second chance after second chance after second chance. And so anyway, we get back together, and this is the part where I was just over it. I had just gotten a job with a bank here in Charlotte, and we were waiting for an offer letter to come through, and it came through. So I wanted to celebrate, I wanted to kind of just go share the good news with him. So I called him, and, we had talked a lot about how we need to treat each other, how we need to communicate in tough times. So I'm thinking he is getting it, it's registering. So I go over his house to share the good news with him. And it was a pretty decent time hanging out together. We were okay. And then he asked me a question. He said, what have I ever done to disrespect you? Now, this is in the midst of us having just a fun, light conversation about just whatever, like life stuff. And I stopped talking. I was like, are you sure you want to talk about something like that right now? Because, fast forward. So rewind. I had made reservations to go to dinner that night to celebrate me getting this new job. And so I was in a really good mood. I was just happy to have this opportunity with this bank, and I wanted just to have a good time and just, So I stopped talking, and I was like, are you sure you want to talk about something like this? Because I never really tell him what he's done to disrespect me. And in the past, when I've done that, it's caused an argument because he would start sucking his teeth, rolling his eyes, and just dismissing me, and making me feel like I was the problem. And I'm like, I'm trying to communicate with you and tell you so we can make it better. But you're sucking your teeth and rolling your eyes is not making the situation better. It would cause me to get emotional. And then now he's ready to kick me out or break up with me because I'm sad because of how he's responding to me. So anyway, he was in the room getting ready to go to dinner. And he was in his closet with his back to me. And I sat down on the bed and I said, are you sure you want to talk about what you've done to disrespect me? He was like, yeah. I said, okay, good. So I started to tell him what he had done to disrespect me. And I couldn't even get the first few words out. I think I was just like, well, this one time when you did this, And when I told him, this man spun around. He spun around and he gave me the most evilest, is that a word? Evilest? He gave me the most evil look ever, y'all. His face was balled up. He looked at me like I had two heads. He was giving me, if you keep talking, I'm gonna probably kick you out. Like, that's how he was looking at me. And I was just like, so I stopped talking. And he was like, why you stop? I was like, because the way you're looking at me, like, you're giving me the look. If I keep talking, we're going to end up arguing. And I don't want to argue tonight. I want to go enjoy my dinner and enjoy this good news that I got. And I don't want to. So I'm just not going to tell you. I'm just going to just stop talking. I'm done. So when I told him that, he said, well, you know, I always make faces. And I was like, yeah, that's the reason why we've broken up before, is your facial expressions, and you're sucking your teeth, and you're rolling your eyes, and your dismissiveness to the things that I would come to you and talk about. I was like, we've broken up before because of that. And I don't want that in this moment. Like, I want us to just talk about it, and you acknowledge it. You either apologize for it and we move on. Like, if somebody's telling me about something that's very serious to them or something that's hurt their feelings, I'm not going to be looking at them like this. I'm not going to be doing that. I'm going to look at you with understanding, and I'm listening to you so that you can get your thought out. Well, he got offended because I didn't want to continue to have that conversation because of how he created this unnecessary tension with his facial expression, which again has caused breakups in the past. So I began to say, hey, there's a such thing as nonverbal communication. And I was like, if I'm telling you something that's pretty sensitive to me, I don't need you to be looking at me like I have two heads. It's going to make it very difficult for me to really communicate that to you if you're looking at me like you're ready to just shoot it down and just act like it never happened. Like, it was like he was just on the defense instantly. I didn't get upset or angry. I was trying to like control my emotions in that moment and just not cry or not get loud. So I was like, listen, I said, there's such thing as nonverbal communication. If I'm talking to you, then you need to give me that respect to look at me like I am somebody and you're actually listening to me, and you're not giving me that. Guess what this man said? This man's gonna sit here and tell me that I sound like a podcast, y'all. A podcast. So I'm like, a podcast? I was like, what do you mean when you say a podcast? And he was like, you just sound like you just listen to too many podcasts. I was like, so me telling you how I want to communicate and what is a safe space for me sounds like a podcast? So anyway, I said, okay, whatever you say. So then I tried to further explain to him like how I feel and what will work best for me when it comes to our communication. I said, maybe I'm not explaining this to you good enough. Maybe I'm not delivering this good enough to you. Maybe someone else will be able to help you understand what I'm trying to say in this moment, because it's not me trying to be mean to you. I'm just trying to tell you how I feel about your non-verbal communication, which is your facial expressions, your sucking your teeth, whatever. This guy going to sit here and then say, if you keep talking like that, I'm going to tell you to leave. Y'all, I should have just walked out at that point. So then I said, okay, well, fine. I don't want to talk about it no more. I said, let's just agree to disagree, whatever. But y'all, I just felt the tension already. I just felt that he was already offended. He was already on the defense. He already felt attacked, or whatever it was that he felt, and that it was just not going to end. It was just not going to end well. So I started to, like, while he was in the bathroom, like getting himself together still, which is crazy to me, right? And I started grabbing like my personal belongings that I had at his apartment, and putting them in my bag, because I was like, this ain't going to end well. Like, in my mind, from our past, I just knew the way this feeling felt that we weren't going to last. This was not going to last. I went to my car to put my bag in my car. He didn't know, but I had to grab all my little things out there. He comes out the bathroom, and to add more fuel to the fire that I was trying to put out, he goes and says, I feel that's childish. And I was like, what do you feel is childish? He said, I feel it's childish that you allow my facial expressions to stop you from talking. I found it childish to make facial expressions while somebody's trying to talk to you about something serious. My own children doesn't even do that. When I'm talking to them about something that's sensitive or that is important, they're not giving me the dookie face. Sir, that is childish. But I didn't say that. I just was thinking that in my head. So I was like, okay, reservations are the time is almost coming. If you don't want to go, I'll go alone. And then he was like, he said that he wanted to come still. So I'm like, okay. So I took him still wanting to come with me to dinner as a sign that he was ready to just let it go and move on. And we're just going to have a good night, rest of the night. Okay. I was on that timing. And so we hopped in my car. And by this time I was like, whatever, it's a drop in the bucket. I'm okay. I'm ready to go eat and have a good time for the night. And I was paying for the dinner. I didn't even notice how quiet he was in the car because I was just still on a high from getting this good news from my job. And I was not really trying to hold on or harbor any type of negative feelings from our conversation earlier. So we get to the restaurant, we go in, they seat us. And, I'm excited. Me personally, I'm in my own head, but I do notice this dark cloud over him. He is very quiet. He's not saying much. I'm asking him questions about what he ordered and does he want something else? And he's like, yeah, he's doing this. He's all snooty and stuff. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. Okay, Maria, just ignore it, whatever. It was super awkward. It was so awkward that I started texting like my homegirl. I was like, what you got going on tonight? I texted my kids. I was like, how are y'all doing? Da, da, da. Mind you, my children I have a 20-year-old son and I have a 15-year-old. So they're up there. So I'm just like, how are you guys doing? They're doing cool. And he just quiet. He's not saying anything the entire dinner. So he keeps up this silent treatment that he's giving me the entire dinner. And towards the end of the dinner, we're just sitting there and I'm like, all right. Then so I just asked him, I said, why aren't you talking to me? This guy looks at me square in my face and says, I don't talk to children. I said, huh? He's like, I don't talk to children. Where my hookah at? Where my hookah? When I tell you it took everything in me not to flip the table and show him how a child really acts, but my spirit made it. I jumped up, I grabbed my purse and I left. I didn't even have it in me to go back and forth with him. Because at that moment, it was the ick that I needed to just say, you know what? This is not what I want to be married to. This is not a person that I want to live life with. If we cannot have constructive conversations without you calling me overly emotional, without you gaslighting me, without you making me feel like you're dismissing me and what matters to me doesn't matter to you, I can't live life with you. I can't do life with you if you're like this. Because in life, you're going to have all kind of things that are going to come up. And if you can't come and talk to your partner without it causing an argument, this is not going to work. So that was enough for me. I had it. I got up, I grabbed my purse and I ran. I didn't run, but I walked to the elevator to go to my car and leave. Didn't get up after me because he thought I was going to the bathroom, I guess. I got down to my car. I got in my car. And I guess he realized at that moment that, hey, I was out of there. So he called me. And the first thing he goes and says is, FUB. Then he goes and says, my wallet and my keys are in your car. And I didn't notice. I didn't know he left his wallet and his keys in the car. Second ick. First of all, I don't care if your girl gonna pay or not. Why are you leaving your wallet in the car, sir? Why did I put up with that? Like, I am a beautiful woman, not only on the outside, but the inside as well. Why am I putting up with someone who is treating me like this? What I realized is that he just didn't have the capacity to really pour into stuff. Could be because of old past traumas, things he was dealing with on a personal level. I'm not sure, and I don't know to this day, but how his emotion, like he was more emotional than I was. But men express their emotions a lot differently than women. But anyway, back to the story. He tells me his keys and his wallet is in his car. Girl, I was so angry at that point. First of all, why are you calling me a child, sir? I have done nothing for you to feel like you needed to utter out of your mouth and call me a child. Nothing, but been loving to you and a woman to you. So anyway, I leave his keys right there in the parking lot. I said, your keys are in the parking lot. And I quickly forgot that his wallet was still in my car. So as I'm driving, I'm like, oh my gosh, his wallet's still in the car. So I drove by his apartment complex and I put his wallet right by his front door, and I was out of there. I was done. I was done with it. I did not want to hear from him, see him ever again. I left his butt at that restaurant. I'm happy I'm telling this story. I hope that it gets to the right ears. A man doesn't have to cheat on you or hit on you for it to be an abusive relationship. Emotional abuse eats away at your self-confidence. It eats away at how much you love yourself, because you're going to end up losing yourself in trying to understand someone or in trying to make someone love you who just don't have the capacity to love you. How are you having your tough conversations? If your tough conversations always end in arguments and someone crying and someone else saying, I don't care, you need to really reconsider. All right, guys, so it's about that time for me to get dressed and head out to my brunch. But like I said, I hope this helps somebody and it's to the ears of the women or men who needs to hear this story to shine some light on, I'm going to say, emotional abuse. I'm not going to say narcissistic, because I think narcissistic is something that is thrown around a lot. I'm just going to coin it as emotional abuse. All right? You need to love yourself enough to know when someone's not treating you the way you need to be treated, and to be strong enough to walk away. All right. So until next time, guys, I hope y'all have a great Sunday afternoon, because I will. Until next time, be blessed, be inspired, and be motivated. Talk to you guys soon. Bye.